Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We have embarked upon the Antaranga of Yoga. Again, let me tell you, it is not Antaranga Sadhana of Yoga, but Antaranga of Yoga. That is Dhyana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the last three limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. This Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the three angas are absolutely integral practices. All the whole of yoga is integral. There are integrated ways. This Antaranga aspect of yoga stands out there. So in the last session we were considering the division of the mind. One is the mind in Japa, which is Sankalpatmaka Manas, which is backed by a resolution that one would be in Dhyana, and a second one is the monkey play of Vasanic Manas, Vasanatmaka Manas. So the mind gets divided, and these two, as I said during the last session, that they are like wheels, and the resolution mind or the pranic mind or japic mind, the mind in japa, is a kind of wheel of regular shape, while the other mind is a wheel without a regular circular shape. It is haphazard in shape, and therefore it doesn't really run by itself smooth. And then it is like a drunken mind. Like a drunken person is unpredictable. This Vasanic mind is like a drunken person, therefore it cannot be predicted, and therefore it would be often colliding with the mind in Japa, the Sankalpatmaka Manas. And therein also it was said that although there will be constant clashes between the two wheels, the mind in Sankalpa should pretend to be absolutely undislodged, unperturbed, undisturbed, unagitated, as if it is engaged in its own duty. Howsoever it might be getting nudges from Vasanic mind, howsoever the Vasanic mind might be colliding with it, it should not show any agitation, irritation, frustration, despondency. So, the naughty Vasanic mind would be slowly inhibited to play its tricks. So this was what the point that we came towards the end of the last session. Now we proceed from there. Dhyana at any hierarchy for anyone is invariably in the form of japa. Therefore, the japa rahasya should be well understood, with which we went quite in detail on an earlier occasion in the Samadhi Pada when we dealt with Japa Sutra. Now, it is not that one should just get on to japa, particularly when it is going to be Dhyana Sadhana. Otherwise, japa can be done anytime, anywhere, as you are aware of it, in various kinds of japas. One of the kind of japa that it can be done anywhere without any preparatories, without any preliminaries, without any protocol. So there are some kinds of japas of that nature. But here, when the japa is going to come in Dhyana sadhana, there is certainly a long preparatory, a long protocol, a long orientation. And more often it so happens that the protocol is hand long, arm long, and dhyana may be just the first knuckle of the finger. In the sense, actual dhyan, the japa, may be for a time unit, which is maybe 1/10 or 1/100th time taken by orientation preparatory, but that really should not be matter of any concern. So if you are taking preparatory accomplishment in about say 10-15 minutes and your japa is only of 2 minutes, no problem about it. It is quite justifiable. But scrupulously, sufficiently, liberally going for preparatories, orientations is of paramount importance, because it should generate pavitryam and mangalyam in the mind. It should generate auspiciousness in the mind and sanctity in the mind. It is so important if that japa is coming as dhyana sadhana. So the chitta must be in pavitryam, mangalyam, that is its shuchi, that is its shaucha, and that is its purity. So it should generate a kind of atmosphere and ambience in the mind of the nature of pavitryam and mangalyam, auspiciousness and purity, piety, sanctity. There should be no compromise in handling the protocol and preparatories. And then only the dhyana aspect would surface. And as I said just now, it might be just 1/10 of the time that you have taken for protocol. But that doesn't really matter. Quality time is important. One should not be hastening to go into dhyana, which is called dhyana sadhana. One should not look for shortcut. One must be quite liberal in allocating time and energy for preparatories. So finally, let me say that your preparatories might take about 10-12 minutes or 15-20 minutes, and your japa might be of just 3-4 minutes. That is perfectly right. But the condition that the preparatories must be accomplished to possible extent should not be compromised with. And for such preparatory, the pranayama tantra becomes very important. Now let us try to understand how pranayama process, pranayama technology, pranayama culture can contribute for dhyana sadhana, which is japa, which is in the form of japa. By shwasayam and pranayam, our manifest mind, our peripheral mind, surface mind, what is called as Bahya Manas, or the Bahya Varanam of the Manas, it becomes Shanta, Prasanna, it becomes quiet, whitened, tranquil, sober, neutral, and also well organized, well arranged. So one can understand how Shvasayam and Pranayam can set right our mind. The surface mind, appearances mind, the peripheral mind. And that would be of great importance. Although it is a cosmetic treatment to the mind, it is of great importance. Then by Shvasayam, the Shvasanadis also would be purified and they would be traffic worthy. And it's so important that Shvasanadis are well combed, well arranged and well set. The pranayam also can work on nadi shuddhi. So when the nadi shuddhi takes place, the Vasanic mind which was referred to earlier, that Vasanic mind comes under the spell which is called Mohana Nidra. So it comes under a spell, and to have that Vasanic mind under a spell is so important for Dhyana, so that it won't be disturbing much. In order that it doesn't disturb, it is important that we put that Vasanic mind under a so-called hypnotic spell, and pranayam can do that. The atmosphere of Shvasayam, pranayam creates that condition where the Vasanic mind, the naughty mind, the monkey mind is under a spell, and therefore the sublimation of the other mind, which is in Japa, would be facilitated. And the more the mind in the Japa Sadhana, the mind in the Japa Sadhana, the more it is transfigured, transmuted, etherealized, greater the chance of Japa succeeding and becoming efficacious. So it is all based on transformation in the nadis, transformation in the nerves, transformation in the corpuscular particles, transformation in the cells of the body, transformation in the biochemistry, transformation in the electrochemistry, and also transformation in the blood chemistry. Everything comes under that spell of Nadi Shuddhi. So the more that happens, greater the facility for Dhyana Sadhana to be going on smoothly. The entire nervous system, the neurology, is also tamed, pacified, quietened by the atmosphere of pranayama. So the whole material aspects of the body to trigunas, sattva, rajatama, gunas, they all come under the influence of tranquility, neutrality, virginity, purity, piety, sanctity, sanity, equity, equanimity, equilibrium, the yogic atmosphere. Now, by any other means, you will not be getting to reach this condition. It is only pranayam, shvasayam that would be taking you to such a condition. So, what is called as udattikaranam, transfiguration, transmutation of the embodiment, happens by shvasayam and pranayam. Now, if this has to be explained in the light of modern sciences, then the transfiguration is physical, anatomical, physiological, glandular, biochemical, cellular, molecular, biology, psychological, mental, psychomental, emotional, cerebrocortical, and neurological. Further, even on the corpuscular plane and plane of psyche and consciousness. So such elaborate management takes place by shvasayam and pranayam, and effectively the vasanas are under hibernation. The subconscious tendencies are under hibernation, or as I said, they are under mohana nidra. They are under a hypnotic spell, and therefore the Dhyana sadhana would be unobstructed, unimpeded. So yoga tantra, yoga culture, yoga technology, yoga philosophy can really work out a magic. There can be a magical spell on ourselves. And this is because of the yoga dharma, wherein you will understand the importance of Guru Smaranam, Ishtadevata Smaranam, Kuladevata Smaranam, Manasa Pujanam, Pranavavalambanam, Pranavanusamdhanam. And all this works like it happens in puja room with dhupa agarbatti. It creates that sublimity in the atmosphere. That lamp in the puja room, unwavering flame of it, and then incense, what is called as dhupa and agarbatti. It creates mangalamaya vatavaranam. It becomes very auspicious. And in yoga dharma, the list that I mentioned just now works as if it is dhup, agarbatti and the lamp in the puja room. And that is a great atmosphere creator. And the udattikaranam, or the sublimation or transfiguration, is rapidified and huge structure can be raised up. And when there is a huge structure of it, your dhyana is ensured. So, the pranayama and shvasayam have a great role, because in pranayama itself, you will be able to take pranavavalambanam, namavalambanam, pranavavalambanam, mantravalambanam. So when you take recourse to these mantras and namas and pranava, then the mind easily gets sublimated. But for that purpose, the mantra should become significant to the consciousness. Nama should become significant to consciousness. Pranava should become significant to consciousness. And that is all accomplished by profound satsanga, sadhana sangha, shastra sangha, which are all the lifestyle aspects for a practitioner. So with these processes, the naughty and crazy Vasanic mind is almost kept unconscious. And then therefore the influx of sattva guna would be encouraged, and therefore with the sattva guna blooming and blossoming in the mind, in the psyche and consciousness, the Pashumanava becomes Pashupati. The Pashumanava becomes Pashupati and Shivamangala. So it is a kind of touchstone effect that culture of yoga with assistance of Shaucha and pranayama takes place. And one will really understand that the exhalative pranayama is so important for sublimations. So even in awakeful state, you can get the twilight state. That is the fourth state of consciousness which is spoken of by psychology, and then yoga calls it Turiya Avastha. So some kind of minuscule such avastha, which is a twilight state, can come to even sadhakas. Although sadhaka is not a yogi and therefore is not qualified for Turiya Avastha, yet there is a twilight state. In that state, what fades out is all delimitations such as caste, class, creed, race, gender, status, stage, age, conditions. All these things fade out. The biochemistry puts everything under a spell of sublimity, spell of virginity, spell of purity and piety. That is the touchstone effect of yoga dharma. The embodiments truly becomes kshetra, that is pilgrimage center. As Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter explains kshetra, it really becomes kshetra in the sense it is a pilgrimage center where the Atma is enshrined. And the 13th chapter of Jnaneshwari beautifully explains this as Shri Kshetra. These are the words of Jnaneshwar Maharaj. It becomes Shri Kshetra. It really becomes the body, the shrine condition. The body, the shrine of the divinity. And the heart becomes sanctum sanctorum of Antaryami. And that is what the Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga is trying to influence us. So yoga and the Japa Anushtanam, Japa Anusandhanam, it opens out the realm of Nada Brahma. The Nada Brahma is manifested within the heart. And the sublimation takes place on astronomical scale. So that is how the yoga tells us about Antaranga of Ashtanga yoga, that is Dhyana Dharana or Dhyana Sadhana for neophytes. These days we have huge forestation of Navya Dhyanam, neo meditation. And the yoga in that sense has become a consumer product. It is now available on the counters. And therefore it is very difficult to figure out what is the genuine, authentic, classical dhyana in the hubbub of modern meditational techniques. And today we need to take cognizance of this because there is a forestation of Navya Dhyana Tantra, neo meditations. So neo meditations are all over the world and basically started about 2500 years ago with the onset of Saugata Pantha. From Buddhism came Neo-Buddhism, and from Buddhism the meditative techniques started coming on counters, consumer counters. So it is not new in the sense we might understand. The heterodox philosophical systems introduced this meditation 2500 years back. And let us try to understand what kind of atmosphere they turn out. In Buddhism, there is that momentarism. Atma is non-entity. And this pronoun I is a worm. And therefore, a pseudo-spiritualism got rise in that feverish concept of Buddhist philosophy. That nothing is sublime, nothing is eternal, nothing is permanent, nothing is even existent. Everything is ephemeral, everything is ignoble, everything is mire. There is no lotus, it's all mire and mire and mire. And the pronoun I am just insignificant, the non-entity yet taken as entity. I am just a worm. I am absolutely helpless, hapless, hopeless. So there is dark cloud of melancholy in the heterodox philosophies. They are very, very, very negativistic. Everything is sorrow, sarvam dukkham, sarvam kshanikam, everything is momentary, sarvam shunyam, everything is void, everything is arthahinam, everything is meaningless. This is the atmosphere generated by the Saugata philosophy 2500 years ago. So it is just woe, sorrows and sorrows. And with this, one tries to crush the vasanas. In such an atmosphere, it is poisonous atmosphere for vasanas, negative mind, absolutely negative mind, negative tone of the mind. And then it is almost paralyzed. and the meditation is raised up on such paralyzed Vasanic mind. While in the classical approach, it is under Mohana Tantra, Mohana Nidra. It's a hypnotic spell. That's the big difference between the classical approach and heterodox approach, or orthodox approach and heterodox approach. So everywhere cloud of melancholy, sadness, gloom, and with that, naturally the vasanas are strangulated, and then the meditation is raised upon such structure. Because so the philosophy spoke about Shunyavad, Kshanikavad, etc. There is no Nada Madhuryam, there is no Nada Brahma, but it is silence of cremation ground, silence of burial ground. And in that silence, the meditation is given rise to. So this is rampant in our times, and therefore very brief mention was made about it. Anyway, let us proceed on this Dhyana Tantra, and let's try to understand with greater details the yogic process of Dhyana Sadhana. But that is in the next session. Namaskar all of you.